What is going on YouTube? My name is Lucas, and today I'm going to continue to provide you some more information on Lordstown Motors, currently known as DPHC, soon to be RIDE. So if you're interested in a little bit more information on Lordstown and some news, I suggest you stay tuned right after this. I'm extremely excited for this stock, and I am extremely excited for this truck. But you want to know something else I'm excited about and extremely pumped about? Is when you guys smash that subscribe button. It helps out tremendously. It really does. And we're slowly but steadily getting there, and I appreciate every single one of you. But something else that I also appreciate is when you smash that like button. It helps get these videos out to the YouTube universe and allows people to see what you see every single day, and that is this amazing content. So now it's time to get into the stock, get into the truck, and get into Lordstown. Very excited about this stock. I think there is a lot of growth potential, and there's so many reasons why I feel this. I think obviously with them being the first, blue collar truck and the first actual EV truck that's going to be hitting the market, I think that's going to have such a massive impact. And I think what's huge about the whole deal as well is the fact that they have a ton of orders in place. They have a plant, which I'll be talking about in a second, that can manufacture up to 600,000, capacity vehicles. There's just so much that they have in place. And I think that is a huge difference from a Nikola, who, once they transition from their Spac ticker symbol to their actual ticker symbol for their company, that thing just absolutely just exploded. The stock price shot straight up. And I think this is going to happen with, Lordstown Motors as well. But with Lordstown Motors is they're actually going to be manufacturing the vehicles here in the near future. I mean, it's crazy. So swinging on over here to provide you guys with some of that news. So strategic and renowned investors, including General Motors, which keep that in mind, Fidelity, BlackRock, Wellington, and Federated Kaufman participated in funding the round stimulus with a Spac announcement to acquire Lordstown Motors. And I did a video on Lordstown Motors previously, as you can see right here, but to actually be able to figure out who is invested into this company, I think that really is an impact. I mean, if this was a baseball lineup, every single one of those companies I just listed is hitting it out of the park. I mean, BlackRock is a monster investor. They'd be hitting four-hole, tanking it over the wall. Fidelity is no, walk in the park, and General Motors is going to have their hands on some of the parts that go into the Endurance, which is the Lordstown Motors truck. But I think the biggest thing we need to understand for Lordstown Motors is that they do have the expectations, the plan in place, and they have tested a ton of their truck, the Endurance. I mean, they have put it through an endurance test. And so that's why I think the biggest difference is, and why I think it's a better investment than some of these other ones. But swinging on over here, it says the recent flurry of funding into the electric vehicle, obviously the EV market, has been unprecedented. Much of the momentum has been propelled by a surge in Tesla's share price and increased use of special purpose acquisition companies, or SPACs. And I do 100% agree. I think Tesla triggered majority of these EV companies. It gave them a proper time, an opportune time to come into the market in the SPAC form and really just take over. I do truly think the EV market has taken over in 2020. I think it's been amazing to see what they've been doing. So back over here, it says companies like Nikola, Hyliion, which is SHLL, and Fisker, which is the SPAC, which have been working towards bringing their versions of next generation EVs to the market, are now flush with capital and have the potential to fulfill their promises for the first time. The investment of billions of dollars into the development of new EVs will accelerate the transition to an electric-centric future in the transportation industry, offering consumers greater options to choose from and more competitive price points. We love providing you guys with supporting evidence because, well, You know, my opinion means absolutely nothing. Obviously, I'm not a financial advisor, but these people that I give you the information on, well, they write and are financial advisors. At least some of them are. And I think this article that I'm going to provide you now, I think has some very, very supporting evidence on why Lordstown is definitely going to be a successful company. I mean, there is a lot of meat and potatoes in this article that really makes a lot of sense. So swinging on over here. It says, following the merger announcement, Concourse Partners purchased shares of DPHC on August 4th, 2020, primarily due to the fact that until the merger closes, there is limited downside risk, and when compared to the other EV startups to announce mergers with Spacs, so far this year the company is significantly further along the path to commercialization, which is exactly what I stated. I'm not going to go off too much, but man, I'm telling you what, that fires me up. Furthermore, its share price is relatively cheap with respect to its enterprise value, and its stock has yet to break out like other SPACs to announce mergers with electric vehicle companies. You know, today we had a decent run, and the same goes for Workhorse. It honestly, I feel like they're in the same boat. Those two stocks have yet to really make their major runs for where they're currently at compared to other SPACs. It blows my mind. So continuing on, since DPHC is a SPAC with approximately $10.16 in trust, the absolute worst case scenario prior to the upcoming shareholder vote based on last week's closing price of $12.97 is a loss of 21.7%. If Lordstown stock trades anything like Nikola, Shell, which is Hyliion, or Spac, which is Fisker, following the announcement of their respective mergers with SPACs, DPH could trade anywhere between $25 and $100 per share, representing a return of 92% to 670% in the near term. And that is coming from Seeking Alpha. And that is amazing information right there. And I really think that that is as true as it gets. I mean, I stated before, they have everything in place. They just need to convert and start manufacturing. How many other of these companies can you say are doing that? I can tell you Fisker is not even close. I would say Hyliion is relatively close. And Nikola, we have no idea what the heck they're doing. I mean, they say they're going to do all this stuff, but we haven't seen any evidence of anything. What I love about this article is that they start to break it down. It gives you key considerations to compare where Lordstown is currently at versus the rest of the SPACs. And that is absolutely what is amazing about this Seeking Alpha article. Swinging on over here, it says they have an auto plant. Enough said. It says while Nikola and Spac currently lack the infrastructure to manufacture vehicles, which they have none, it says Lordstown acquired a 6.2 million square foot assembly plant from General Motors, which we understand because, well, you know, President Trump's tweeted about that. And obviously we know that there is a decent partnership there between Lordstown Motors and Workhorse. I mean, that is monster news. And I think General Motors obviously has its hand in some of that as well. It says that, you know, this plant is outfitted with equipment that was most recently used to manufacture the Chevy Cruze. And that's amazing. Has combined replacement value of approximately $3 billion. So they have a lot of infrastructure in place that once they hit that green button to start going, this thing is gonna go. So number 2 on this list is they have strategic investors. General Motors invested $75 million alongside additional $400+ million from institutional investors, including Fidelity, BlackRock, Wellington, and Federated Kaufman. Number 3, first mover advantage. It's a real thing. Look at Tesla. Management maintains its promise to deliver its first EV pickup truck to the US market in 2021. I mean, that they're going to be the first blue-collar truck electrical vehicle out to the market. It's a truck that is going to help the everyday worker get what they need accomplished. I mean, this is amazing, and the stock is cheap. That's number 4 on the list. It says despite Lordstown being significantly closer to delivering vehicles to customers, DPHC's share price at the end of last week equated to a $2.4 billion pro forma market valuation, representing a substantial discount to Nikola's $18.5 billion market capitalization, Shell's, which is Hyliion, $4.0 billion pro forma market cap, and Spac, which is Fisker, 3.6 billion pro forma market cap. Number 5, support from Washington. That's key. President Trump has tweeted about the company, and Vice President Pence was front and center at the launch of its flagship model Endurance in June 2020. I think that's significant, especially with everything that's currently going on. I think that's a significant piece of information. Number 6 on the list, Powerhouse Automotive Executive Team. Holy smokes. These guys are, I mean, really, they have the backing, the history when it comes to, you know, putting out the electrical vehicle type, you know, and even just being in the vehicle industry. So it says they recruited top talent from auto industry, including John Vo, former head of global manufacturing at Tesla, and Rich Schmidt, who oversaw numerous manufacturing processes at Tesla, Volkswagen, Hyundai, Nissan, and Toyota. And then it says fleet first. Lordstown is going after the fleet market, which has resulted in 1.4 billion of pre-orders. I almost just passed out. That is unbelievable. The fleet market tends to have larger order volumes and stickier customers while avoiding a complex retail sales network. So basically what they're saying there is that if a purchase is going to be made, there's a good chance that that order is going to be followed through because it's being purchased in a fleet. And more than likely that's going to be put out for, like I stated earlier, the blue collar worker. Finally come to my favorite part of any video, and that is chart breaking down time. So let's Lordstown Motors on over here and get up in this Endurance. So today it opened at $14.36. It got as high as $14.55. It got as low as $14.03. Its volume was 1.947 million. Its market cap is 505.7 million. Its 52-week high is $15.10. Its 52-week low is $9.50. And its average volume is 1.214 million. So we were obviously up from the average. And I think this thing is honestly going to start kicking in gear. We are looking at a 6-month chart. It ended up closing today up at $14.45, which was up 1.98%. That's pretty good. And it went down just a tick in the after hours to close out the day at $14.40, down 0.35%. Now, like I said, this is a 6-month chart, and the reason is because I'm pulling it out only because, you know, obviously DPHC really wasn't doing too much. It didn't actually invest or do the Spac for Lordstown until as it got closer to the month of July, and so that's why you're just seeing a flat line. But the reason I pulled it out is because basically in the beginning of August the volume ramped up. I mean, just absolutely ramped up. They made the announcement of the Spac, and this thing shot straight up. Obviously after the initial hype it declined a little bit, but then since that point, I think the big thing to understand is that, you know, DiamondPeak Holdings will be transitioning to Lordstown Motors, which is going to be ticker symbol RIDE. When that happens and the manufacturing starts and the infrastructure is already in place, this stock price is currently trading at $14 to $15. But realistically, when you look at it in the long term, that's actually a cheap price in my opinion. And the reason is because if you look at a Nikola who didn't have anything that Lordstown has in place, shot all the way up to the likes of $90. So what is a company that has the infrastructure in place and the capabilities to start a manufacturing immediately? They already have tons and tons of orders in place, which is going to start generating revenue quarter after quarter. You know, what is the capabilities of a stock that has all that in line? Just something to think about. I could have talked on this stock for days. I really can. But the thing is once again, I'm limited to 15 minutes, and that's all I can do for one video. I really appreciate you guys swinging by. I really appreciate you guys watching this video. Obviously, I have a lot of passion and a lot of really just information I can provide on this company, Lordstown Motors. And you guys know how I do it. If you like this video, smash that like button. It helps out tremendously. And if you enjoy the content, because I'm going to keep the content flowing, subscribe to my channel. And as always, have a good day.